Someone once told me that we don't grow when we're comfortable. We grow by making ourselves uncomfortable, through the grit and the determination we find the will to win. For us, veterans, first responders, what is the most uncomfortable thing imaginable? Talking. Well, that's what we're here to do. Welcome to Real Talk Mondays, where veterans and first responders come together to share their knowledge to build a stronger community, one real conversation at a time.
Hey guys, welcome back to Real Talk Mondays, brought to you by Second Chance Outdoors. As always, you got Nate, and Logan is on assignment at a farm. So as you can tell, he may be coming in and out. Don't know what's going on with him today. With us this week, we are...
I'm trying to hide, man.
Trying to hide? Well, you're frozen, so you're good. This week we're continuing with the entrepreneur theme that we started with our good friend Ken Busby. And with us this week, we have another one of our friends, Adam Giran, with us. And he has started his own business, and he's a veteran and a first responder. So we want to bring him on and talk about it a little bit. Adam, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your service?
So I'm retired out of Air Force. As you know, we were stationed together up in Alaska, Air Force Security Force. Did a bunch of whole tours overseas, and then came back and they said, hey, that's enough, retired me out. So I realized retirement wasn't enough, so I decided to start this behind me because I couldn't afford to buy the fishing lures that caught the bass and all the fishing tournaments for my hobbies. So I invested probably way more money than I needed to, beyond what I probably would have spent buying the damn things. But it turned out to be a pretty cool thing that I'm selling to vets and doing stuff to support and do things like that. But once I realized that wasn't enough either, until I get it going, I work for Pasco County Sheriff's Office as a deputy down
No,
Very
right on.
cool.
How long you been with that department?
there. Just over a year.
Oh, nice.
Yep. So it took some time. I worked in a management side for fuel wholesale and trying to figure out what I wanted to be when I grew up after I got retired, and my good fight with the VA. But moved on, and I took a contract overseas so I can move on to get back to law enforcement, get back behind the badge. You know how much I loved it, and fund this and get my dream behind me going.
I like it.
Yeah. So tell me, we're curious. We want to know the story of Warzone Baits. We want to know the story.
Why?
Why did you start it, and how did you get to where you are now?
I'll be honest with that. I fished all my entire life. You know me up in Alaska. If I wasn't at work, I was in a creek somewhere fishing.
And if he wasn't
fishing with the
working,
mission. Was that?
and if he was at work, he might be fishing.
As a guarantee.
6 miles.
Once I came down to Florida after retiring out of Alaska and stuff, I got into tournaments and I was fishing the ponds around here, and it was a whole new world. But I realized how much it was costing me on a fixed income coming out of VA disability and finding a job. My passion of stress relief and my kind of therapy really turned into a stressor because I couldn't afford to do it. So once I got into it and I realized wrap my head around that there's people actually making their own stuff, I started doing my research and things like that. And it became a therapy in itself, trying to figure it out, learning it. And I started with one mold, making worms and a Pyrex cup and fuming up my house with probably toxic chemical fumes, and I have a very patient wife. So I crank out a few, and it was trials and tribulations. But once I really got good at it, I had some friends I fished with, and I give it to them. They're like, man, you want to make me some? So I realized there was something there that people wanted it. And there's some veteran guys that I'd fished with in the neighborhood. But then it really took off to realize that what I was producing was actually better than some of these big name competitors out there. And I fished with a group called Army Bass Anglers. I fish on the Air Force side of it. There's a bunch of good group of guys and everybody, and we fish in different clubs and tournaments around it. Kind of you hear about what people like and dislike and the colors they like and they don't like. So I figured you see all the colors behind me. I have a stockpile, so I can match, make, and do anything somebody wants. So it really gives that sense that, helping people out. And then plus I wanted to eventually grow this thing to be able to support and, donate my back money and proceeds and profits at some point to, whether it be fallen police officers, military, things like that. So I'm actually, one of my colors that got me started is my favorite black and blue with a blue tip. And so I'm working on with a group to try to get that going, to donate. We had a couple officers get killed recently here in the Tampa area. We lost 3 in a very short time. So I'm trying to get that fired up and do some kind of sale to support that.
Where can, obviously we're going to hit on this in a little bit, but where can people find you?
I have a website. It's called warzonebaits.com. And
Perfect.
It's growing. It's a work in progress, just like anything else. But
Yeah.
I wouldn't be in a cruiser if I was so technologically advanced. But
Dude, I feel you on that one.
it's like, which way should I go to capitalize on this? But I love chaos. I thrive in chaos. That's good.
Absolutely. So how do you like working the street?
I love it. I absolutely. I didn't realize how much I missed it until I got back to it, and being out on patrol again and mixing with the community. And it was different being on base. We had our a small city up there in Elmendorf in Alaska, and it could get big at times. But here you got a big base of veterans in Pasco. It's huge pro county for police and law enforcement. So it's just being out there in the mix and people getting to know me. It's fun.
There you go. There you go.
I like it. It's awesome, man. I'm glad to see that you're doing well.
Heck yeah.
It was a rough ride. Don't get me wrong, getting the business started, fighting the VA and stuff, but I'm in a happy place. My fishing and everything has turned back into therapy instead of a stressor, because I was turning to a lot to get away from all the stress, and it became like kind of a negative space.
Yeah.
But now that I got this going and work's good, family's good, it's a good release again. So it's nice to be out, take some bets fishing, get them some lures, get them some baits.
Good deal.
Get everybody out. Good, I like it. So
what are some of your business goals that you have coming up for this year? I mean, we just closed out Q1, so what's the rest of the year look like for you?
So I'm breaking out. So I got a couple pro staff guys, and I'm hopefully going to be introducing them online here soon. I got a couple out in Texas, a few in Florida, and so we'll be branching out, getting our names out there, just to really get the name growing, getting the baits out there, people understanding that I'm here to, to support people more than make a buck off of people, and just kind of grow it. And it's in its infant stages, and getting people out there, people are loving it.
There you go.
Grow it, get some new things going. I designed some of my own baits, so get those out there.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah.
That's good. Hey, question for you. When you started doing this, and how long has Warzone Baits been in existence?
So I started playing around with the idea and the concept. It was probably 2017 to the early 2018. And it was a whole bunch of building up the nerve to actually do it. It was kicking it around, asking my wife every other day, hey, should I do this? Should I do this? Should I do this? She finally said, if it's something you want to do, just do it. And I never had really that support like that before. And, somebody just to push me off the edge that I was trying to stay on. And so I was like, okay.
One
so
foot hanging on the edge, and she walked by and just pushed you off.
It pretty much. She's like, I'm done with it. Go do it. But she knows if I had an addiction, I'd say that was it. And going fishing she knows how important it is. So I had my reservations. I wasn't sure. I was like, am I good enough to do this? And it took me just to get some product in my hand, get it out to people, and get that feedback back. And the most scariest thing about starting your business is taking that jump. You can't be afraid to fail. You're going to fail. You're going to make a product that absolutely falls apart. It might not catch fish. It might not, do what you want to do. But I tell you what, whenever I take my product out and I'm slinging and bringing back a 7 bass, I'm getting pictures in the afternoon. I know tournaments are going on. My guys are like, hey, I just won a tournament. I took second place. I took first place. Did it all in your baits. Phenomenal. I tell you what, if somebody was on a drug, they'd drop it to have that kind of high, knowing that something like that, your stuff is doing it off of that. So whenever I'm off duty and for the work week and I come into the garage and I'm pouring for 10 hours straight, getting all these orders out and stuff, it's got to be a passion at that point, and I love it. But that's definitely the hardest thing, is just building up that gut and that bravery to take that leap and commit yourself to something.
Yeah.
and just sticking with it, like following the process to a T.
Exactly. You're gonna feel like you got hit by a truck sometimes when you
Heck
something
yeah.
happens, doesn't seem to go right. You can't get something going right. I mean, I got piles of plastics around here that I couldn't get a color going. I just had to walk away. But when I came back, I nailed it or came up with something even better. So you just can't give up.
Nope,
No.
not even a little bit.
Not at all.
So with all that and going into having that infancy, what if you were talking to another vet or a first responder that's thinking about starting a business, what would be some of the hurdles or pitfalls that you encountered that you would want somebody else to know about that you wish you knew?
So I can speak on this side, like with the retail and like kind of the manufacturing thing. Like I thought, I was like, this is easy. I can do this. I don't need to ask anybody anything, and I can just kind of watch YouTube and figure it out myself. But I found out pretty quickly that I was spending more money than it was worth even doing this. And I was like, what am I doing? This doesn't seem right. I don't know. Am I calculating this right? Do I have a head wrapped around to go in the right direction? But I ended up joining some amazing groups on Facebook. And God knows there's a group for everything on there. And there's some bait making groups and stuff. And everybody's willing to share a lesson or share, something that they've learned because they've been through it. I got friends in these groups that are some of the biggest bait makers out there. They're willing to share their time with you. So having that knowledge and know how to ask questions from the start and not be afraid to get, hey, that's a dumb question, or there's no dumb questions,
Nope.
There's going to run into those groups.
If you don't know, you don't know.
Exactly. And you don't realize you don't know something until you ask, even if you think you know.
Yeah.
It's crazy. You'll find ways around stuff because these guys are trying to make a penny, pinching things together and trying to make things work. And they know the best ways to do it. And they point you in the right direction. And they can save you a lot of trial and error. They can save you a lot of money waste going for something you think is a great idea, but meantime, nobody's bought it in 10 years. But
I think
you
that's
think
one
it's
of
a
the
great
coolest things about like the small business world, the community. Everybody's willing to share just a nugget of information with you or some advice where they went left when they should have gone right. Because it's completely different than the corporate world. I mean, everybody wants to see everybody succeed, but we're in competition with each other at the same time.
Exactly. And it's funny because I get into it and there's a lot of veterans out there and, people that have retired out of, the working class and everything. They're at home and this has just become a hobby. And it's kind of, it reminds me of the military, and it's the lessons learned, always the debriefs and the after actions and things like that.
Yeah.
And, and he'd come back from a deployment that I just came back on, or if I was going out, he was coming back, we'd always share like, hey, don't do this, don't do that. Hey, go check this DFAC out, not that one. Everything's valuable at that
That's
point.
the important stuff.
Yep. Got to know where to eat.
Yep.
Exactly. So, Happy Sarge is best Sarge
Right.
to be around. But yeah,
That's for sure. Man,
That's
so
awesome, man.
how many different designs and
Yeah.
types of baits do you have currently that you're making and selling?
So I have a pretty good variety. Mainly what we call stick baits or like Senko style baits. One of the biggest names out there. I'm not going to go into that, but everybody knows it, and it's the leading one out there. And it's like $8.99 for a pack of 10, $7.99 for a pack of 10. And the same bait, I'll take them out. I'll switch them out of the bags just to see if people what they'll say, and I'll give them to the buddies, and we'll do little challenges. My baits have been catching more. And so I offer various sizes, everything from a 10-6 down to a 3-inch. And I do some craws, and then I design my own frog. I'm a big frog fisherman. So I designed that while I was overseas. I was over in Balado on contract. There's nothing else better to do than work and waste my time designing and spending money. So I designed my own frog and got that cut, which I'm actually sending a couple packages out to a couple pros that I bothered enough on Instagram that they were willing to, I'll let you know what I think of it.
Fine, just send them to me, I'll try them.
Exactly. So,
Hey,
once I
the
figured
squeaky
out
wheel
that
gets
this
the
is-
grease, dude.
Sometimes it just gets replaced.
and that's the other thing about just being persistent, like with everything, is the number one success. But as far as what I offer, some of the baits you'll see is kind of similar to what's on the market, but I make it cheaper. I make it a little bit better quality. I don't use cheap plastics. You'll see some of the plastics that are used. They're super cheap, but I use this company Bid on. They're phenomenal. And where somebody might spend $90 for a 5-gallon bucket of plastics, I'm spending 130, 140, with everything at the cost. But it's the quality. They last longer. So my whole point of making baits more efficient, more effective, and cheaper and affordable for people to go fish these tournaments, whether it be first responders, just the average person, or military, they last longer. So you get a better product where you're catching one fish per bait, maybe, or you'll catch 5, 6 possibly with mine. Maybe I'm shooting myself in the foot a little bit because my baits last a little longer, but I've been finding people are coming back for more. They're sending people my way to like.
If you make a quality product that's good, people are going to come back.
Yeah,
for
man.
It. Logan,
you make that.
Now you know where to buy your stuff, and maybe you can catch some fish.
Exactly.
Well, I don't know if I can get it overnighted to the middle of nowhere.
I'm saying for next time. This time's practice casting.
Have you seen the Pony Express though out there? Or,
Oh man,
the internet's out at his farm.
They don't work good. Not even a
really
little
got
bit.
lights coming.
Hey, it's primitive. It's bougie primitive is what that is. That light's
there you go.
No, that's the only light in the place.
Bougie primitive, dude.
Yep, that's gonna
a good
be
one.
That's gonna be one of them.
Yep.
Yeah,
I like it.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say with what you're doing. No, you shush. What you're doing. What do you do? Do you do any reach outs or anything else other than just with the bait? But do you do anything for the vet and first responder community?
So I've really been trying to build my base so I could make a notable contribution. I've been donating some guys. Mainly, it's kind of on the lowdown. On my patrol, I'm out and about. I can always carry extra baits with me. I do a lot with the kids. It's mainly one of my bigger supporters. Take kids fishing. I kind of jump on that bandwagon myself, do my own thing. So I'll see these kids out fishing the ponds. I fish the ponds too. My hardest thing is to get a call and say, "Hey, go chase these kids off this pond. They're fishing." I'm like, I'm about to be a hypocrite right now, but I'll go out and I'll talk to. I'll spend the time. If I'm not on a call, I'm finding people on the ponds. I'm handing out baits and stuff. I don't mark them. I don't put my name on them, but I'm giving them my baits. I'm not going to use my position to try to push a company. I just won't. But they kind of figure it out. And it's funny that some of these kids, just talking to some of the people that fish in the neighborhoods, they've heard of me or they've seen me at a tournament, and they're like, the deputy dude is as big. Yeah, that's his company over there. It all comes full circle.
He's right over there.
Yeah.
Not only that, but like just getting out there with the community, man. Like with those kids, when they see you roll up and handing them baits or taking a minute to throw a cast out there with them, that's building more rapport and doing more for the community than just about anything, man.
Yeah, that's awesome community policing, man.
I love it. I thrive on it. I see the guys out there putting the kayaks in. They think I'm busting them. I'm about to yell at them. You can't be here. I'm like, hell no. I said, what are you catching out here?
Right?
My uniform. I'm out here checking out, see how you're doing fishing.
Heck yeah. I never did anything like that. Ever.
We never did welfare checks out on the ice fishermen either, did we, Nate?
Not once. Ever. That anybody can prove.
Never. Might have been keeping warm in an ice shanty or something sometime.
Right.
Nope. Never, ever, ever, ever prove it.
Nate, were you there whenever we busted out the big command dome tent and drilled about 30 holes inside of it out on 6 Mile Lake?
No, I wasn't there for that one. I heard about it.
That sounds incredible.
The big modular giant command tent. It was probably I think it was like a 40-foot dome, like diameter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was pretty big.
We ended up dragging that thing out of 3 foot of ice, plucking up about 25 or 30 holes inside of it. And it was a good morale building there. That was good.
That's team building.
Oh, I always had a fishing hole somewhere.
That's exactly what that is.
Yep. I like it.
But yeah, no, it's getting out there. I'm ready to kind of step it up, and I'm looking to try to get in and support some of the tournaments and stuff. Try to get my name out there. That's going to be my biggest target for the year. just to know I'm out there to support and try to help take care of some people.
Heck yeah.
Good deal, man.
Well, we may have something we need to discuss here in a little bit
Yes.
Oh,
about
what is it?
things and stuff.
I had sent you an email earlier, and we won't put
I
it
do.
on while we're recording, but we will discuss this because it's something that we've talked about quite a bit. And well, I know, Adam, you and I had a conversation about potentially having us partner up to do something. So that'll
So we
be,
can build up the suspense for a big surprise now.
yeah, and be like, what's the
That's
surprise?
pretty much it right there.
Nothing.
Well, hold on. I think I have an idea.
Wait.
Context
No.
clues are going to be able to put this whole thing together.
We'll just edit it out and put those in different parts.
There you go.
So none of it'll make sense.
So
What
I got to ask a comp question.
Do it.
What's been one of the most rewarding calls that you've been to where you're like, that's it. That's why I became a police officer?
There's so many, honestly. I'll be the cheesy one. Like I came back to be the, take care and support and, provide for the community. But I would say it's any call that I go to that there's any kind of child involved that leaves whenever they're like, hey, I made a buddy today. I made a friend. And it could be anything from, would it'll blow your mind for me to say it, just the young children with mental health calls. They're in a place of stress. They don't know how to deal with it. And they'll make these comments and requires us to come out and talk to them and, get them the help they need. So whether it's mom and dad and a domestic and a child's involved, and the first thing they see when we come in the door is just big green people, and they're think mom and dad are getting boogeymaned out the door. They don't know what's going to happen. And
Yep.
I'll end up usually peeling off, and I'll hang out with the kids. I'll sit on the couch. I'm 6'4", almost 300 pounds. And, I make buddies with these kids, and they're like, man, I got the biggest protector ever. And that's what I leave. That's the satisfaction that I love, is just the kids, and even adults that have such a negative view of law enforcement, that they see me, they automatically assume that I'm an a-hole and they don't have nothing to do with me. And I'll end up talking to them, and they're like, man, you're a cool dude. So I've been thanked at least 7-8 times through the course of this past year for arresting somebody, all because I was being nice to them. And so that right there, that leaves its mark, and I'll see them out there again. And if it is a problem with them, they'll see me walking by, hey, what's up, Deputy G? And they'll just come walking up. They're super laid back, and there's not a problem. Yeah. So it's that kind of an impact that this sells it for me.
Heck yeah. That's all it is, man. Building that little rapport, even if it's a negative contact, treating them like a human being and just handling your business.
Exactly. And if it's I hate the way you use the word, I'm even off duty, and I don't want to say slow or quiet, but if it's slow or quiet,
how dare you?
I started getting a twitch. I was like, what's going on? I'll stop in. I remember a house. I'll just go knock on the door, and the kid answers the door. I'm the last person he expects to see you, but he just lights up, and it's things like that just make it absolutely worth every bit of it. All those long hours, 12, 14-hour days, being out on calls, it's absolutely worth it.
That's awesome, man.
That's good shit, man. I like, how do those two tie together so well for you, other than, you catch the kids fishing and you give them their baits, but how does one relate to the other for you, for your ability to keep your mental awareness, your mental toughness, and still function in both worlds?
You're talking about being on duty and then, being ready to take on some bad guy and then be out there for hearts and minds type thing. Famous.
All of that, everything that entails with you being on duty, and how does that transition, and how does that allow you to be, say a better business owner? How does that tie together?
So
yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I see what you did.
I see what you're spinning there. But yeah. So I mean, being on duty, it's you need to be able to talk to everybody and anybody. I might be on a call going in with a 20-year-old autistic child that has the mentality of a 3-year-old that I got to sit down and communicate with, or I got to go deal to another call with somebody that's had way too much to drink, probably did some drugs, and now think they're battling Godzilla. and still try to communicate with them versus just a normal housewife who's just having a bad day, or somebody that's just needing a simple, hey, what do I do about this call? So you really adjust to learn to talk to everybody and how to approach different situations, which whenever I hang out my uniform, my gun goes in the safe, I get business mode, get caught up. I might be making a call to somebody grumpy, hey, I got this, and this wasn't the color I asked for. But meantime, it's just something they clicked wrong on a website. I'll work with them. I'll make them happy, get them, talk to them, versus somebody else that just sending me all this info. They're like, hey, I need this, this, and this. I just had the best day of my life. I'm trying to call them down. Like, yeah, just let me tell you how I need to support you. Go to business owners, trying to figure out how to get my baits in their stores and possibly, future with that. After talking to you guys, it's all different. And it really just, it reflects perfectly back and forth. Just adjust and talk to everybody and anybody and adapt to your situation, because business is as volatile as anything you're ever going to see. And whenever I came up with Warzone for the name of the company, for one, it's been created around who I am, and I spend most of my time in the military in a war zone. So it was perfect. And then the battle to get it up on its feet, it reminded me of that. It was war. It was a battle. You had to figure out how to adapt, overcome, realign, and reattack. And I said, this is just the perfect name for it all.
Oh, right on.
Heck, yeah.
That's awesome. I like how that came up. That's how you came up with the whole thing. That's awesome, man.
Took me about 2 years to come up with that name, and I finally made it official, and it was like 2019. So.
Dude, why is the name always the hardest part? Always.
I'm telling you, it's some of the strange. I said, I thought it'd be like super easy, and I'm like, man, this is the most ridiculous thing to ever do.
I have legal pads of just names and just words and all this stuff, just bleh, and it took forever.
I kept that too. I went through the same thing, legal pads, sketching designs, and whatever, and it was an absolute disaster trying to come up with it. But finally, it just hit me. It hit me at 3:00 in the morning.
Like, there it is.
I was in Balad. It was like right before my birthday, and I was like, "Oh crap, that's what we're gonna do right there." I still remember it.
That's awesome. Heck yeah, absolutely.
I like it. Hey, Adam, Logan, it is drawn to the end of our time for this episode. We like to try and end with words of wisdom, if you will. So, Adam, I have a question for you that if anybody's watching, anybody's listening that wants to get into into any business that they're thinking of doing, what is the biggest piece of advice that you would give to them, or to your previous self, knowing what you know now?
I would say, I'm going to dig deep on this one, but so my biggest thing, and I really aligned and looked at it, and my biggest recommendation is go into your garage and look around your garage and see how many hobbies you had, and see how much of that stuff's hanging on the walls that you haven't touched, done anything with, and God knows how long. And then see if your business is going to fit in with that stuff. Because if you're doing this as a hobby and you're expecting it to make you money, you never will. Now go find the things that you're passionate about and see how often you pay attention to that. If you can't see that your business is going to fit into a passion, and it is a passion of yours that you're going to care for, nurture, and take care of, just like it'd be a family member, a child, or a pet that you do, care about. If you're not willing to put that commitment and that dedication into your passion, and it's just going to be a hobby that you hang up on the wall and it's just going to sit there, don't put yourself through the pain. You'll lose money, you'll lose patience, you'll lose sleep, hell, you might even lose a relationship over it. So that's the other thing, is just to make sure that what you're doing, you can commit yourself to, and that it's because of a passion and not just a want or just something for the week that's just going to be something to keep you busy, because it's going to test you. And anything that you're passionate about, you'll be successful with. If you're not, it's just going to flop, and you're going to have more headaches to deal with.
No.
100%.
Yes, I like it.
100%.
And that was the biggest finding for me, and that was my biggest kind of discovery about myself, that I'll be honest, I picked it up and put it down, like, I'm not going to do this, but there was something that kept drawing me back to it. And from my input from my wife saying, you're crazy about this. You love it. It's a passion. And I'm like, yeah, that's the confirmation I needed. Is this how often I came back to it? I couldn't leave it alone. And other people seeing it, they knew. And I says, yeah, this is it. And it still remains a passion. I love it. I love helping people. I love helping myself because this is my place to turn to after a stressful week. So it has many purposes. It's not just a business. It's part of me. It's part of my family.
And make that commitment, man. Like just full send.
Exactly.
Full send.
100%. Take the dive. Once you get that warm, fuzzy feeling that this is it, go for it. And then you can reach out to me at any time and ask me a question at any time. And I guess for anybody watching us.
Heck yeah.
Logan, what's yours? What's your final parting thoughts for the week?
I'm on assignment, man.
Yeah, that doesn't get you out of it.
Well, I was hoping it would.
But don't you be hanging up either.
Just yeah, right. And boom! Oh, I lost internet. Sorry, man. No,
I can't hear you.
Find to the whole passion point, man. Find what sets your soul on fire. Whether that's entrepreneurship, whether that's being a police officer, whether that's being the best military member you can be. Find what sets your soul on fire and pursue it, and don't ever stop. Period. That's my weekly wisdom.
I like it.
100%.
Perfect.
Nailed it.
Yes, first try. So with that, I'll let you guys know. Just think about doing something, taking a step back, taking a breath, recenter yourself for the week, and press on. So this was Real Talk Mondays, Second Chance Outdoors with Nate, Logan, and our friend Adam. You guys have a good week, and we'll see you next time.
Warzone Baits. Check them out.
Come see me. I got you.
Thanks for tuning in to Real Talk Mondays. Until next time, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit 5 stars on whatever platform you're listening on. Make sure you check us out on Instagram over at Second Chance Outdoors. And until next Monday, we'll see you on the mountain.